Hey guys, how you going? So I thought I'd do a little bit of a rundown of my Nats build on Season 3 of Diablo 3. This particular Nats build is my run fast clearing build. So this build I sort of came up with because I was sick of trying to keep up with barbarians in normal rifts. They were just flying through in front of me and I was just basically following a trail of loot trying to keep up. So to start with, the build is a little bit tricky to play, just the play style. Learning, how to use your abilities to manage your hatred and to do the damage. But I'll run through that when I do the little playthrough. But we'll start off with gear. So there's a few variable different options. Starting off with the shoulders, I'm using the Deathwatch mantle purely for the fact I like to basically group the mobs up, and because you're moving through them so quick, you're sort of in the middle of them. You're doing that extra damage, and you're proccing at Fan of Knives quite often. You can use, say, you've got a survivability issue. You could use some Skeleton King shoulders just to gain that extra life perk that it gives you. But other than that, it's important to have cooldown reduction on your shoulders. Preferably, I would like to have a Rain of Vengeance damage on there as well, but I obviously couldn't get that with this particular drop. Um, then we can move on to our helmet. Obviously, we're going to run the Nat set here. So cooldown reduction is a big part of this build, so we can basically spam our abilities as much as possible. So you're going to want to have a diamond in there. You're also going to want to have a bit of damage, so you don't particularly have to have strafe damage. You could have, life if you've got a bit of a survivability issue there. I don't seem to. I've got pretty decent ancient gear, so I don't really have a survivability problem. I sort of just run through everything at a million miles an hour and one shot everything. So I prefer to have a little bit of damage just to go a little bit faster. So I've just revised this build. I've had to think about it when I was making the video before this and thought an Essa Johan would probably be a good idea because in lower density rifts I find that I get slowed down a little bit where things aren't grouped up close enough for my Rain of Vengeance to, I guess, one-shot it. So I've given this a go. It's not the highest damage neck, so preferably I used to use this one here, which is my highest damage amulet I've got at the moment. But I've just changed to this one and it's working okay. So obviously the S of Johan's perk is it pulls in enemies towards you. So I found this does actually proc every now and then, and it is kind of working for me. So I've got the Boon of the Hoarder in there as well. That's to gain that extra speed and just to get my gold up as well. So Boon of the Hoarder is always one of my favorite gems. Just seeing that explosion of gold always puts a smile on my face. Um, Another crucial part to this build is these run fast braces. So every time you destroy an object, you're basically gaining a massive boost of speed, and this is huge. When you're in a good rift, say the graveyard or something like that, where there's destructibles everywhere, you're just flying through at a million miles an hour, and it's really fun. So you'll see that in action in the playthrough videos that I do. So you're going to want crit hit damage in there to keep your damage up, obviously, and fire skill damage for this particular build. Nat's chest, you want Rain of Vengeance damage on there. Pretty straightforward. Nat's gloves, it's important to have cooldown reduction as much as you can get, but you still want to have crit hit damage and crit hit chance. So that's pretty tricky one to find. So I've got pretty lucky, obviously, with my drops. Got some pretty good gear. Focus and Restraint is our ring choice. Some people run a little bit of a different setup with the rings in the fact that they roll off the dexterity and they roll on cooldown reduction. So they've still got crit hit chance and crit hit damage, but they've got rid of dexterity. They've got cooldown damage, cooldown reduction on there, and that's because I think they're running a red gem in their helm instead to gain bonus experience to help, I guess, get their paragon up. I guess that's an option. I'm not sort of going down that path. I sort of am enjoying this build, but you could try that if you wanted to. The other one, the Restraint here, so same sort of deal. Gems I've got on these is Gogok of Swiftness, obviously for the increased attack speed, which helps you hit targets more often, which in turn reduces your cooldown on all your abilities a lot quicker. as well as you've got the cooldown reduction per stack there, which is pretty crucial. I've just swapped out Taeguk for Wreath of Lightning. So if you're having, maybe if you don't quite have the damage, you might want to run a Taeguk, because using Strafe, you can keep your Taeguk maxed very easily. But I've found that the Wreath of Lightning is working quite well for speed. I find that there's a little bit of downtime with the Taeguk, where my smokescreen, for instance, is out and I can't get a boost of speed, where this Wreath of Lightning seems to keep that extra boost of speed up and going for me. So I'm a big fan of this Wreath of Lightning now. I think that's pretty crucial for this build. Unless you've got, obviously you need to do a bit more damage, I'd use a Taeguk. Actually, the most crucial part of the build is to have a good crashing rain. You want to have a high damage percent on this. That's pretty important. But as well as, this belt is your main damage dealer. That bonus it gives you with the crashing beast is what does the huge billion, 4 billion plus crits. It's crucial. So you want to have a good crashing rain belt. Nat's bow, obviously. You want to have cooldown reduction rolled onto the bow with Rain of Vengeance damage. That's obviously with one-handed crossbows, you can roll the cooldown reduction on them. So that's why we're using a double one-handed crossbow sort of build, for the reason you can have an extra 10% cooldown rolled on the other one. And I'm using the K-Mars 10 clip here for the speed that it gets from its bonus stat there. So because you're strafing all the time, I find that works pretty well. If you don't have a K-Mars 10 clip, you could still use, say, Calamity or a Balefire Caster for the extra fire damage. But you won't be able to cruise through as quickly, I don't think. That's boots, straightforward, just a bit of run speed on there. And that's that. We'll move on to our Paragon. Paragon's pretty simple. You want everything in dexterity, everything in movement speed and hatred. We want full attack speed, preferably, as well as cooldown. And then I guess I've got high Paragon, so this is just how I've done it anyway. You might want to play around with this a little bit. Attack speed's important, as well as cooldown, because that's obviously going to affect your cooldowns, because you want to be spamming Rain of Vengeance as much as possible. That's defense and utility. So pretty straightforward. Probably in this one you want resource cost reduction and area damage before anything else. Alright, skills. So Rain of Vengeance, that's our main attack. You want to be spamming that as much as possible. I've got Stampede on there purely for the fact that it creates a bit of crowd control. Not so much that we need it, but it seems to work best. It's a fire ability and we're based around fire. Strafe with Rocket Storm. I've tried the Grenade rune in here and I didn't like it as much, so I think Rocket Storm's the go. Smokescreen with Displacement. This is just for survivability when you're in the middle of an elite pack, say, and Displacement's for your burst of speed, which is pretty crucial. You need that one. Fan of Knives, you could swap this out for like a Wolf Companion or something like that, but I find Fan of Knives quite useful because I'm in the middle of a pack. I spam this quite frequently, and it hits a lot of enemies, and it reduces my cooldown because of that. And I'm also getting that extra armor because I'm in the middle of things. Sometimes it's a nice little bit of survivability. Preparation Punishment, that's purely to I guess proc up my hatred when it gets a bit low. And Evasive Fire with Focus, that's just to proc the focus and restraint, as well as give us a little bit of hatred when we need it. Passives, Tactical Advantage, that's because we're using Smokescreen. It'll give us that extra bit of speed, and we're proccing Smokescreen quite a lot because of our cooldown reduction, so that's giving us that extra boost. Ambush works in conjunction with Rain of Vengeance and the Crashing Rain Belt. So because we're running Ambush, you tend to one-shot enemies, because it just tops up that damage and smashes things like crazy. You'll see when I do the playthrough, it's a must. Blood Vengeance, that's to, I guess, manage our resources, to try and keep our discipline as well as hatred up as much as possible, so we can keep running through these rifts as fast as possible. And Hot Pursuit, that's a no-brainer to keep our speed nice and quickly. Alright, let's do a little bit of a run through. I think I've got everything covered there. Hopefully we get a good rift. Okay, so I won't grab that yet, just so I can give you an idea. That's how quickly we're running just by using smokescreen. Let's get into it. So I'm holding strafe down all the time. The tricky part with this build is the playstyle. Is trying to, manage your skills and abilities and not run out of hatred and still do good damage. So the way I've finally got around to learning how to do it is I sort of hold my strafe down and I mash my ability keys with my mouse cursor over the pack that I want to destroy. In one shot, basically. With my Rain of Vengeance is on my first mouse button. So, I'll cruise over a pack and I'll start spamming my mouse button. Because sometimes if you just click it once, because you're holding strafe down, it doesn't seem to register. So I find I need to just spam that mouse button one with Rain of Vengeance a little bit to try and get it to drop that crashing rain and kill everything. So you got to remember to... So I'm using my fingers on the keyboard there as well and hitting all my ability keys at once. Sort of mashing them as well. That's to make sure that I'm getting that focus and restraint proccing with my evasive fire, which also helps me not run out of hatred, because it's getting that little bit of extra. I'll speed up a little bit now so you can see how quickly I can run through these rifts. As you can see, survivability is not really an issue. It's going to look like I've sped up the video, I reckon. It's just silly how fast this build is. There's the Essa Johan doing its thing. I won't grab that. Oops. Wasn't paying attention. Where is he? Here he is. Is that it? It's a good example of a channeling. Channelings are just nuts. Channeling means you can go flat out and do max damage. It's just silly how quick I can go with channeling. Mr. Johan going off again. Well guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe and like, and it will encourage me to make some more videos in the future. Thanks very much guys. Oh, that's that.